So you're not disturbed with the idea of the Hernando Ocampo being, claimed as the father of Philippine modern art?
Well, I am not disturbed at all because those who know what is modern art will naturally think that I was the father of modern art.
Well, modern art seems to have progressed tremendously, considering the kind that we're doing now in 1973. What is your opinion of it? About the non-objective painting, total elimination of subject matter?
Yes, I think the non-objective paintings has their own merits. They have their own idea and belief that they can express their emotions through colors. So interplay of colors, lines and composition and colors. They are different from painters who derive their what you call they derive their pleasure in depicting objects objectively, different from the non-objectives or abstract painters and so on. And you have these realistic painters, and it is a mistake to call one group of modern painters one group of painting of modern painting is a step to another, because each of these manifestations of modern art have different objectives. Yes.
Have you done any non-objective painting?
No. In compositions, the first thing that I do is to think abstractly. In other words, I will decide where the colors will be, what composition will it be. Will it assume the pyramidal composition, or pyramidal composition? Or will my composition assume the horizontal? That is an abstract. I approach my painting in that manner. Or shall I have a composition with, in order to create power by having a diagonal, and after that, then I lay down my figure to follow that of abstract composition at the beginning.
Did you derive much of your style from Cézanne?
No. I admire Cézanne for his solidity and for his virility and for his beautiful colors. But I also love the power of Rembrandt. And so that in some of my portraits, you see the influence of Rembrandt. If you can see my portrait of a doctor, family of a friend of our family, the painting is acquired by Alquas, our painter Alquas. And the influence of Rembrandt is very, very strong.
What do you think of the, quote-unquote, controversy regarding the idea of who started Philippine modern painting? Is it Edades or Ocampo?
Hernando Ocampo was not painting when I arrived here. I've not seen any of his paintings. I saw some of his paintings after, let us see, in about 1938, I think, or 1939. And he started painting with nude. In fact, I wrote an article about his painting, nude in front of a candle. And I published that in the newspaper. I had several articles in the Chronicle that time, yes.
So you're not disturbed with the idea of the Hernando Ocampo being, claimed as the father of Philippine modern art?
Well, I am not disturbed at all, because those who know what is modern art will naturally think that I was the father of modern art.
What was your impression of Ocampo's paintings then? Did you find them, more modern than your painting?
With the first painting that I saw that he was doing, was all flat on the ground. That's some of the things there. And then this nude in front of the candle. And well, I thought that is one of the beginner's works.
What do you think of the present trend of Philippine painting? Do you think we're moving forward or we are stagnating?
I think that almost all nations now are looking for something new forms because according to Herbert Reed, and I think I agree with him, that the modern artists had reached the dead end in their inventive genius. There is nothing anymore new from among the modern artists what they're doing, and therefore it is time for us to create new forms.
What about you? Are you at your age now? Do you still try to look for certain directions?
Yes, although I cannot get away from figure painting, and in fact, whenever I sat down in the garden, I always figure out how to improve my work and to have vigor in my work. Remembering the soil in which we live.
Personally, do you find any fault in your painting? Something which you would like to correct?
Yes. Sometimes I find it getting too flat. You see, my idea of a painting is to have as simple as possible. I found out that the greatest painters in the world seem to tend to become simpler when they become older. They see masses simply. But in my case, sometimes I see simply, but at the same time, it lacks force. So that I have to correct that. I think it is possible to be simple and yet forceful.
What do you think of painters who start in the abstract vein and never learn how to draw figures?
I think it is always very dangerous to follow the least resistance. A lot of young people, as I experienced there in my school, is for young people to start abstract because it's simple for them. And then, but they don't have the foundation. They don't have the roots on their work. So they think that by being abstract, it is an easy thing, and therefore we follow that, and that is dangerous. I don't think they will amount to much.
But some figurative painters cannot paint good abstract paintings. I mean, it's a different sense of recognition of forms and shapes. In other words, not because the fact that you know how to draw figures, it doesn't follow that you know how to draw abstract. What do you think of that?
Well, in some of the works of Picasso, he showed figurative and also some abstract design. Although Picasso would not admit that he would be doing abstract things. He thinks there is no such a thing as abstract art because there must be correlation to nature.
Do you think you can? Yes.
But there are people who can move from one style to another, like Picasso. But if a man can master the figurative painting and do it well, I think that's enough for him. And if also an abstract painter, if he's very good in that, that's good for him.
What did your exhibit at the Solidaridad with John Edades consist of?
Consisted of mostly figure drawings, sketches of rainfall in Davao and the mountains of Davao, then women carrying bananas, things that I saw around in this neighborhood, in the environment in Davao. Yes, and some drawings of my own grandsons while they were taking a bath or in their cribs. Yes.
When do you know the painting is finished or what?
Well, the painters don't really know. They always believe they can always continue working. But somehow they get tired. They saw this, they go, all right, finished.
Was there an art market during your time for people buying your works?
No. I remember very well that even when I just arrived here, even Amorsolo, who was very popular, the best known, could only sell his portrait for 100, 120 pesos.
Did you not feel discouraged?
No, because as I said, that anyone who likes to paint would paint anyway. And the painter may wash dishes for a living, but still paint on the sides.
Even if nobody buys the painting?
Even if nobody paintings. And that is why I took architectural design as to make what they call rice and fish. And bread and butter. So I can paint.
Did you have any rivalry during your time with other painters?
No, we don't. We don't have any, unless you might say Amorsolo was, of course, they rejected us and we didn't like them. So if you call that rivalry,
What is this thing about the 13 moderns?
just after the American invasion of the Philippines, or takeoff after the World War, we thought of enlarging our group to certain modern instead of just Carlos Francisco and Gallo. And then, of course, Diosdado Lorenzo was already included. So we invited several other artists like Anita Magsaysay, and then Manansala, Hernando Ocampo, Legaspi, yeah. Nearly all the people that come now. I think that was done almost before the outbreak of the war.
What was the objective of the 13 moderns?
The objective is to create a body which will be stronger in pushing through our belief in modern art.
Have you heard any reactions, verbal reactions from Fernando Amorsolo regarding the moderns?
No. Perhaps this is the way I judge Fernando Amorsolo. He is what you call the sweetest man you ever meet. He's the most kind. He never say anything against anybody else. Mm-hmm. So I met him several times and he never show any antagonism. It's all due respect.
How long was the 13 moderns active as a group?
It did not last very long because when the war broke out, we were all dispersed. And then when the Americans came back in, we were all so busy trying to mend our destroyed farm or buildings and houses.
Were these 13 moderns, were they active in their thinking, in their ideas? Did they know how to speak their minds?
Yes, of course. As I told you, it was a kind of loose organization, and it was not already certain modern. I'm thinking now the first time when I talked to the artists in Palomo building, that was the first time when this
13.
Philippine Art Gallery was created. Mm-hmm. But it was, of course, the members of the City Modern were there, but not all of them.
Is there any American painter you admire? A personal favorite?
Well, I always like Ryder. Akins is also good, but I like Ryder better. Akins is very solid, all that. And I like the Whistler's compositions in blues and all that, impressionistic.
How about the French Impressionists?
Well, I like practically all of them, impressionists, although Renoir has very beautiful colors. I like him very much.
I see your daughter has followed your footsteps.
Yes, and not only that, but I think she's branching also in writing. Possibly she got that from her mother. Yes.
When you start a painting, how do you start? With the layout first? And then you decide what colors to use?
Yes, well, first of all, a lot of my paintings decided when I sit down alone and looking at nature, then my mind works on a certain composition. Then I draw in charcoal first, the different shapes and so on. But when I paint, a lot of those original ideas disappear because there may be some of my ideas do not conform, modified according to the colors and compositions. Yes. So there is a constant changing and creating up to the last minute.
Isn't there a somber mood of choice of colors in your palette?
Well, in the past, I prefer the somber color because I want some, what you might say, solidity. Mm-hmm. But now I think I can merge the two. I can have my painting with strength and grandeur, and at the same time colorful.
Mm-hmm. What is your advice to beginning painters?
I think that my advice is for them to be diligent in observation of nature, and then to draw every day and relentlessly, and not to stop at what we call prettifying, but show the character of an object. Yes.
Do you think you still have the energy to do a mural the size of the builders?
Yes, possibly even twice.
You must feel very strong.
Well, it's not. I am not as strong as before, but the desire and the energy. I mean, the spirit is there. Yes.
I see.
Yes. Yes.
Will you keep on painting for as long as you can?
Yes. Of course. That's my life.